with our radio show.
Bill, I know you were a truck driver for many years. Is that where you learned how to play
Right.
Is that where you learned how to play your instruments, or did you learn how to play beforehand?
No, I was playing harmonica by the time, by 1959. I had my first one, and guitar I actually started playing at 20 years old in sometime in the month of January 1970 in Vietnam. As far as singing goes, I was a singer in church from the time that I went to church at about 7, and I realized that I could not only sing all the liturgy and everything the priest was doing, but I could sing harmonies with it all too. Very quickly did. So I've been a singer basically all my life. I've been a harmonica player almost all that long. Harmonica was not my first instrument. My first instrument was actually a set of bongos at 9, because I thought beatings were very cool. And my mother let me have a set of bongos and a record and everything. So I'm also, I'm a professional percussionist when I need to be. My specialties are basically shakers and congas.
Well, how long did it take you to get to the point where you're at right now, musically? I mean, obviously you didn't pick up the guitar.
I'm still getting to it. I've got the steepest learning curve I have right now is on the guitar. I'm finally, after 40 odd years here, getting to be at least master of my own style. I was playing with a group called The Workers that you're going to ask me something about, and I learned quite a lot from the guitar player of The Workers, Ronnie Mac Mullen, about playing rhythm guitar. I'm a 200% better ensemble-oriented rhythm guitarist now than I was when I started. I know about the harmonica. I know how talented I am. I'm good. I'm not great. I've known the great ones, but of all the things, I have my own style, and that's why people listen to me, I think, because they know that they're getting something that's utterly me, and not little Walter or big Walter or that Walter or this Walter. It's Watermelon Slim.
Yeah, I understand that. What about your stage name? How'd you come up with that? With such a cool blues name?
It was the second or third week of July 1980, and I was standing in the middle of a field of watermelons I grew by the sweat of my own brow down in Oklahoma. It was my first crop, really, and I was eating a piece of watermelon to hydrate myself. The temperature was about 105 in the shade, so that the very quick answer, the 5-word answer to your question was heat got to me. But I happen to have a harmonica in the pocket of my overalls, and I'm standing there holding a piece of watermelon in one hand and a D Special 20 harmonica in the other hand, standing in the middle of my watermelon field, and suddenly, kapow! It was like, it's like Paul on the Damascus Road. I realized I had a blues name. I knew there was a bunch of Slims, your Memphis Slim and Magic Slim, and a bunch of Slims, but there wasn't any Watermelon Slim. I'd have bet my farm on that. And so I've been Watermelon Slim for 33 years.
Now, was that before you was driving a truck?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was before the period of my life when I was making a living professionally driving a truck. When I went in the service, a military occupational specialty, what you enlist in was truck driving. So I drove, this little job and that little job through the 70s while I was basically being a laborer and didn't start working as a truck driver until 1987. And I worked till about 2004.
You know, I was curious if that was your handle when you was talking on the C beat.
Yeah, well, this watermelon, you know, we don't have 5-syllable handles that too much of the truck driver to remember. So watermelon slims out. Just plain old watermelon, that'll do. Come on.
Hey, we got a grip.
Down there. You got the watermelon there.
Hey, come on, watermelon. Come on back. We got a grip on your lip.
That's what I'm talking about. Come back.
We back quiet.
Yeah, well, I'm standing on the side. What else you want to know?
Hey, man, has blues always been your first choice as far as style of music?
Blues was the first live music that I ever heard. And it wasn't even on a stage or anything. It was in my own house. I was a Southern boy, in a middle-class family during the days of segregation. And it wasn't unusual for such people to have a black woman working for them, house cleaning and taking care of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff that happened. And the very first one that I can remember was named Beulah Huggins. And Beulah Huggins used to sing John Lee Hooker songs. I didn't know there was John Lee Hooker. Didn't have any idea until years later. But she'd be singing Boogie Tillin' and one bourbon, one scotch, one beer, and when I first started hoboing, you know, she was doing this stuff back there that he first recorded, all very raw, speaking Hooker stuff. And so I heard that. I didn't know what it was, but I knew I liked the music. And then, you know, by about the age of 14 or so, I got around to hear Howlin' Wolf's Smokestack and played by the Yardbirds. And my first real Gut Bucket Blues record I got in 1963. It was Sonny Boy Williamson with the Yardbirds in Germany. So I heard my first real serious blues harmonic player then. He was the first one that I ever actually listened to.
Now, as far as songwriting goes, do you write all your own songs? Do you ever collaborate with band members or other musicians? I have collaborated, especially with Michael Newberry, the drummer on this new record, and one of the founding members of the Workers. He and I have written 3 or 4 songs in that discography. You know, Slim, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I got to say, you know, I love your voice, man. It's definitely bluesy. You know, is that natural, or did you have to work on that, man? Because
I've never worked on anything with the voice. We're getting the echo again.
Okay.
Well, I've never worked on anything with my voice. I sing the way that I sing, and I've run across a bunch of people who do not sing just the way they talk, which is the way I do. They think that to sing the blues, it's going to sound some particular way. Some people, you know, I'm not going to name any names, but some people, both big and small, that be white, want to make themselves sound blacker for some reason or other.
Hey, man, what made you want to get out and perform live in the first place? Was you nervous?
What made me want to go out and perform live?
Yeah.
I started in church. I could. What made me is that I could. I knew that I could sing publicly. I had my first major solo performance. I went to Catholic school in elementary school. I was in Episcopal church, but I went to Catholic school because it was the best education in town. And my first major performance for an audience of hundreds, the school, the faculty, and the parents, was as a boy soprano singing the Bach Goodart variation
country, damn, I'm there. I'm comfortable.
Did you ever think, when you first started doing that you'd be where you're at right now, getting paid?
I didn't. When I first started out, I didn't have any idea about what being paid was. I had come back from Vietnam before I thought about really, trying to make a living as a musician. I got paid $5 to sing when I was at Middlebury College, and the very first time I ever got paid to do music, sing and play harmonica in 1968. And less than a year later, I was in Vietnam. I didn't do real good in college that first trip.
Me either.
but no, I didn't know that I would be where I am anything like when I was starting out. And in fact, in the 90s, I used to just curse myself because I saw that, it was my perception that I just was not talented enough, and I had I'd lost what looks I had, and I'd gotten old, and nobody was going to listen, and I was going to have to drive a truck for the rest of my life.
Well, that's not the case.
The only reason it's not the case is because of a fellow named Chris Hardwick, who is the producer of this new record. I'm always co-producer of every record I make, and producer of certain ones that he's not around for. But he was an insider, a rather outside insider, but definitely an insider in the business that introduced me to other insiders in the business. That's the way it has to happen. You can't just go to, the head of Dunhill or Atlantic or whoever's making whatever the names of records are these days, and say, "Hi, I'm Watermelon Slim. I'm a blues fan. Would you listen to this CD, please, or this tape, or whatever?" And they'll say, "Sure, we will." And then they'll throw it right in the freaking round file when you get out the door.
Yeah.
You have to have somebody in the business introduce you to others in the business.
Hey, so let's talk about your new album you got. Now, this album hasn't dropped yet, has it? Bull Goose Rooster?
It's the nominal release date is the 25th of June, and that would be in 13 days.
Okay, now, I got a little sneak peek of that, and I got to tell you my favorite song.
Of course you did. We tried with, we've got some new public relations people working on this, I think, at this point. You probably got yours from a man named Michael Farley, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mike gave me...
Well, there you go. Michael Farley is... if my little business revives at all, he's going to be part of why it does.
Well, man, I want to talk about the one song that I really like off this album, Prison Walls.
Yeah.
This song right here, man, really sticks with me. The Prison Walls, 3 foot wide, tall as a Georgia pine.
I am having more shit that song, which is the only minor key song on the record. Well, the jazz ballad "Over the Horizon" is kind of, we're not saying it's minor or major. I wrote that song because I wrote that song to be a jazz ballad. But Prison Walls I wrote in 1973 after the group of inmates I was playing in broke up. It was kind of a direct reaction to that. No particular political consideration having to do with prison right now.
Okay.
But we don't even want to get into me and politics because you'll take up the rest of your show.
Is there going to be a tour associated with this album release?
The only reason I made the record is because I was convinced into the possibility of a tour. I would not have made this record without there being a tour.
Man, thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
I usually say when I come to the end of calls like this, back in the 60s we had a show called Star Trek, and they had these little things called communicators, science fiction stuff, of course. Now look what I got in my hand, so I don't even say goodbye anymore. I say, jerk out.
The 25th Hour Radio Show.